Okay, here we go. I'm here Sunday afternoon. I'm Dr. Nancy Stanley, physical therapist and health coach, and I'm here today to show you how I whip out some steak, some cod, and some spinach because I'm hungry for some good, nutritionally dense food. No casserole for me today, just good old, what I call one ingredient food, and that's my one or two ingredients, okay? So what I've just done, because it takes a while, is I've just caramelized about 3 onions. And I wanted to show y'all, and I see Dolores is on here, and she certainly doesn't need this information. But for some of y'all that are new in the kitchen, I want to tell you just some tricks. Hey, Bonnie. All right, so one of the tricks I hear young cooks complain about is when they cut onions, they cry and it messes up their makeup or whatever it is. So I wanted to just show you a quick tip about cutting up an onion. Of course, I've already peeled this onion, and you always want to take out that stem if there's a stem in the middle, because that doesn't taste good and your guests are certainly not wanting to get that. But then I just turn it on its side. You see I've got my short little cutting board here, and I just turn it on its side and I cut it like that. But if you will, now you've heard the old trick of putting a toothpick in your mouth. Well, the purpose of the toothpick is to hold your teeth apart, your lips apart, so you can pull in air through your mouth instead of your nose. Because if you pull it in through your mouth, it's further away from your eyes. So when I'm cutting, I'm smiling, okay? So I don't need the toothpick. I just hold my teeth apart, and there you go. So that's my little quick tip. If you knew that, put "yes, I knew that" in the comments. You may not have known about holding your lips apart, but you probably did know that the reason your eyes is because you're breathing in all of those odors from the onion, and that's what it's supposed to be, and that's why we like them, okay? All right, so I'm going to put that over there. Okay, so here we go. I've got my pan here to start my steaks, and I've got my cod. So that's what I'm going to do first. So here's my cod. I ordered this from the Alaskan Salmon Company, and I'm just going to tell you it's good every time, and so is the halibut. I think I like the halibut a little better. It's more of a steak-like consistency, but they're both delicious. They're very, very delicious. All right, so I've dried it. I've thawed it out. It doesn't take but a few minutes, especially if you put it in some warm water, to thaw it out. I've let it get room temperature, and I got my oven. I got my broiler going. Well, I thought I had my broiler going. Yeah, I got my broiler going. So I'm going to stick that in the broiler after I cook it in the pan. So here we go. I'm going to bring my pan over, and that's where I did the onions, but I put in some water just to deglaze the pan. I'm going to put this halibut in here. I haven't seasoned it yet. This is how easy it is. Salt, some pepper, and I use dill. I don't know what you like, but I like dill on my halibut. And then I put butter in the pan. I'm going to slide this over into the pan. It's going to start cooking. All right, there we go. I'm probably going to turn it down a little bit because I don't want it to cook too fast. All right, what else am I going to put on there? I can put a little garlic powder on there. I don't always do that, but I could. Really didn't need to put that much. And then I'm going to zest some lime. And you think, well, why lime? Why not lemon? I just like lime better. I will use lemon if I had it. Before I zest it, I took the little tag off because I have zested that before, and I took the very end off because you don't want anybody to get a hold of that. And I'm just going to zest this in here. I'm going to, every couple of minutes, this is going to take about 5 minutes. And honestly, while I'm doing that, I'm going to do a whole lime on this. And when it comes out of the oven, I'm going to squeeze the lime juice on it. But for right now, I'm just putting the lime on the top. And let's see. All right. So I'm going to take my little spatula here, and I'm going to lift it up and let the juice run under it to cook. Yeah. And so that it kind of cooks evenly. Now the other thing I'm about to do is I'm going to cover it. And what that does is it creates like an oven in there. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn on this over here to cook these steaks. So what I'm trying to show you is how you can kind of do this all so quickly. And you know, whoops, that's olive oil. I don't want olive oil for cooking my steak because I'm going to cook it at a higher temperature. Although you can do it, but olive oil tends to burn at a higher temperature. Not burn, but okay. So I put my avocado oil in there. And a tip about these steaks, I've let them get to room temperature. If you let them get to room temperature, they're going to cook faster without burning, really, on the outside, or without charring or getting too done. Now, here's what I've used on here. I didn't put salt on the steak. This is our favorite season. It's called Red River Ranch season. My husband orders it. He gets on and researches, and he ordered it. But use whatever seasoning you like. I did also use coconut aminos. You don't want to use soy sauce because soybeans are not cultivated like with something you would want in your body. They have toxins in them, so I don't use any soy. This is what I use. It's coconut aminos, and it's actually a healthy. So it's a soy sauce replacement. That's what it says right here. Bragg's Liquid Aminos has soy in it, so don't use that. I found that out just doing some research. So I'm letting that pan get you know, pretty hot, because when I put it in there, I want to sear it. That's not getting hot fast enough for me. So I'm going to take another minute and let my butter get up under my fish here. Just kind of tipping that up so the butter will get under there. And you could put a little bit of olive oil on that. In fact, I think I might just to because I don't want it to get really, really brown. But honestly, I'm about to put a piece of butter on the top of that, on the top of those fish. Whoops. And broil that in the oven. It might have been a little too thick. It might slide off. Honestly, I'd probably cut it in half and move some of it over. Okay. As you can tell, I love butter, but only if it's grass-fed Kerrygold butter. Hey, Patsy. I think I saw Joanne on here. Okay, so that's getting pretty hot there. Not sure what's going on with my... All right. Okay, so I am about to put this in the oven, and honestly, that's just going to take... Oops. I may have to slide you out of the way. Yep, I got to slide my camera over to get that in the oven. I'm going to slide you back over, and hang on with me. I'm going to set my timer because honestly, I want that to go about 3 minutes, and that's going to be the most. Okay, here I am. I haven't left you. Okay, so I'm going to swing this over here so you can see it a little better. Turn that up to high and put these steaks in here. So here we go. You can see it. Okay, that's just what I wanted to hear. And there we go. And I'm not going to waste that, so I'm going to put that over there. Okay, so you see it's going to create some steam, but I knew that. All right, so I'm just going to let that go a minute, and then I'm going to turn it, okay? And the reason I'm going to turn it is because I just want it to brown. I'm searing it to sear in the flavor. And then I'm going to pick it up and let that hot oil get up under there, and in just a minute I'm going to flip it. All right, so here we go. And you can kind of time me and see how long it takes to cook these steaks. That's a pretty thick steak. It's a ribeye. It's a grass-fed from our local grass-fed market. I love it. All right, so I'm getting this ready for my spinach, okay? So here we go. I think for the spinach, I am going to use olive oil. So I'm putting about 2 tablespoons in there. I'm going to keep lifting this and letting the oil get up underneath it, just because that's what I want it to do. Yep, there we go. Okay, so when that gets hot, when that grease right there gets hot, I'm going to dump my spinach over in there. So here we go. I've got a thing of organic spinach. I hadn't done this in a while. I was doing spinach every week and dividing it and taking it to work for me, but I hadn't done this kind of spinach in a while, but I'm definitely doing it today because I want some good nutrition. I want to feel good. You know, there's a lot going on in this world, and I need to be as healthy as I can be. So I'm flipping that now. You see that's nice and good and brown. Okay, So normally when I flip it from the outside in. Okay, so there you go. So what this piece was on the outside is now on the inside. I did not do that to this one, so I'm going to turn it around. And the reason I'm doing that is because whatever's on the outside of this big pan, because I can see where my burner is not going to cook as much. So I kind of want it to cook evenly. So I'm shifting my meat around so that it cooks evenly. And this is going to be ready in just a minute. And every couple of minutes I'm tipping it up and letting that oil get underneath there, because I don't want it to, the seasoning actually sticks to the pan. And if I don't let that oil get under there, it will burn. And then the steak will have a burnt seasoning taste, and I don't want that. I want it to be, yeah. Now, I like my steaks rare, so I'm going to take this one up in a minute, but James likes his medium. He's beginning to like it a little more, with a little more redness to it. All right. So I think it's time to take the fish out, so I'm going to scoot you over. And, oh, yeah, look at that fish. It is beautiful. Okay, and that butter just browned up really pretty. Okay, can you see it there? Look how pretty that is. And there goes my timer. So I'm going to sit it right back there. There we go. Now, it's going to continue to cook a little bit, which is perfectly fine with me. All right, so I got to turn this steak down. It's cooking a little too fast for me. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to flip it again. You see that one got a little bit too brown. I'm going to flip that again. But honestly, I like it brown as long as it's not burnt, okay? So here we go with the spinach. And if it gets too hot, here's what I can do. I can move this stick over here. I can always sit it off the burner. Just do that. Let it slow down. So sometimes these kind of burners are not as responsive to adjustments. All right, so here we go. Hey, Melanie, I saw you in there. I saw you, Winnell. Okay, so here we go. Lots of good spinach. Putting that in there. Okay. Normally, I might use a bigger pan, but this is going to work fine. As you can see, I don't know how many of y'all remember Natalie Dupree, but I used to watch her and think, oh my gosh, she's the messiest cook. So here's what I'm doing right here. I'm just flipping this. You see, I took that steak off so I could concentrate on my spinach a minute. And if I was doing this otherwise without showing y'all, I'd kind of do it. I wouldn't try to be doing all this at one time. But it's going to be good. I'm excited. I hope you are in the kitchen cooking some good, nutritious food. All right, so you see how quickly that spinach is wilting down? And I'm just taking these tongs, and I'm just letting it get next to the heat. You see it's just wilting right down. Get it all up. Don't want to lose any back there. You know, one thing I have learned, especially since foods are so expensive, I don't waste any. I don't waste any of my ingredients. I mean, you think about it, even a little tablespoon of butter is like 50 cents. Because butter is so expensive. So, or at least a quarter. And I don't want to throw that away. All right, so that's going to be so good. I'm going to turn it down a little lower. And here again, I would, after I season it, so for me with spinach, I just put salt and a little bit of pepper, not a lot of pepper, and then I'm going to put me a big old hunk of butter. So that's about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to let that melt, maybe a little more butter than I normally would put. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that butter, since it's a little more, I'm going to put it over there in that steak. Because I always put steak at the end, I always put butter at the end of my steak cooking. So I'm going to cover that and move it off. And it'll be done. All right, so here we go. Bringing the steak back up. And honestly, mine is probably, I know you're probably thinking, is she going to eat all that steak? Well, not today, but I will between today and tomorrow. I will eat all of this because I love, 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 love steak. I'm going to keep flipping it, just like I showed you. And I can even check it if I need to. I know mine is right where I want it to be, so let me just take mine up. and put it back there. But I know James is getting ready because he doesn't like it red. He doesn't like with the bloody run. He likes it with the clear juice run. And so that's what I'm going to do. Hey, Libby, I got you on the email today. Anybody else that's not on here that wants to get on my email list, message me, because I'm beginning to send out recipes. And because people have been asking about the things I'm cooking. Now, you don't need a recipe for this, although you might want to know about this Red River Ranch seasoning. It's really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to keep flipping. That's what I'm doing with this steak. Yep, I'm going to keep flipping. I don't usually cover my steak with a dome cover. I usually cover it with a flat cover because if you cover it with a dome cover, it'll sweat and actually make it tough. And I don't want it to be tough. So I'm just going to cover it with that. And I have even used it like with hamburgers. I've used that to kind of mash them down. So you can do that however you want. Now I don't have to worry about how I'm flipping this because it's in the middle of the pan and it's getting equal heat. But if it was on the edge, I'd be sure I'm flipping it from the outside to the inside. Okay, while that's cooking, I just realized I turned it off. Okay, well, I'm going to turn that on really low. While that's cooking, I wanted to talk to you, and some of y'all are on here like, oh my gosh, she's trying something new. I'm always trying something new because I want to give you the best thing. So I've been following Dr. Amy Myers for a while now, and most recently, a doctor that I went to recommended her multivitamin. Now, I had not been taking a multivitamin, and I'd have to flip the camera around to show you this. Let me go ahead and do that. Let me flip it so you can read this right. There we go. Okay. All right, so here we go. So this is Dr. Myers. That always makes me crazy. This is Dr. Myers. Let me turn the light down so you can see. Whoop. There we go. Multivitamin. So I've started taking that, and I love what I read about it. The other thing I always take is vitamin D3 and K2, so don't forget that. I think Dr. Berg's is probably the most economical that I've found that's not, that's a good quality, all right? So you always want to get, you don't want to buy Walmart or GNC nutraceuticals. All right, and then I started taking her leaky gut, and you think, well, why are you taking that? Because I've been having some problems. I've been having some problems with my gut, and I don't know what it is. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to try something else, because if you're irregular, constipated, have issues, something is not right, okay? So you need to, I can't turn that on, too much noise, but you see the smoke coming up in here. But anyway, so just know that you need to have your, and what this is probiotics, pre and probiotics. And so you need to change it up. I was doing something else. I've been doing it for several months. And so now I'm changing and using a different probiotic. And by the way, I ordered 3 of these. So if somebody wants one, I'll let you have one. If you're local, and I can deliver it to you if you're out of that activated U, which is what I was using. And there's nothing wrong with that. But James and I were taking it together and I ran out. So I'm gonna switch up my probiotic to try that. Okay. So this is going to be good. I'm going to, you know what I didn't do to my spinach that I was going to do is I was going to add some carrots. And you know why I'm adding those carrots? It's because my mama always said you need to have a colorful plate. So I'm going to add the carrots to give me some color. All right, so here we go. And I don't even care if they're not done. Look at that. Now, if I was going to serve, when I serve myself, I'm going to have half of that steak, okay? But I am going to have the spinach. All right, so here's the other thing that I'm going to add to this. I need another hand here. Okay. Is those caramelized onions. Now, I think I told you this in the video just before this, is the reason caramelized onions are so expensive is because it takes a long time to make them caramelized. Really about 25 to 30 minutes. So you can't just throw them on and they're ready. So if you're going to do caramelized onions, that's the first thing you do. You put those on, and all I did was put butter and salt. You don't need any sugar, you don't need any liquid, especially if they're good Vidalia onions. And these are organic from Bland Farms. I was so proud to see that in Walmart, because anything that grows under the ground or really on top of the ground, I want it to be organic because it's going to give me more nutrition. So thank you for joining me. Stay tuned tonight. We're going to exercise at 7 o'clock. If you don't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll get these videos in a replay, and you can just scroll through and watch. There's so many videos in there. I was scrolling through today looking for one, and I was like, gosh, you've done so many videos. And I have, because I want you to know the truth. You know, my favorite quote is what you don't know that hurts you. And so once you know, then you have to grow. So hit the love button before you leave. Put in the comments if you've ever done the caramelized onions, what seasoning you use on your steak. Just comment. Just get engaged, okay? And thanks for joining me, and we'll talk soon. Okay, I'm trying to end this thing, but it's not letting me. Here we go. Okay.